Okay. Call to order this December 7th, 2023 regular council agenda review for the town of Selma. We've got a pretty beefy agenda today, considering we'll have a swearing-in ceremony for our regular meeting on the 12th. So we do have an agenda before us. There are some business items to cruise through to start off, and that'll lead us right into a position control update. Staff, do we have any comments on this? This one seems pretty straightforward, to be honest with you.
No, sir.
All right. It's an update of our library supervisor job description, and of course the appropriate position control changes to go along with that. Council, do I have a motion to approve this position control update?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Fee schedule update. This one we do need to look very closely at. What this fee schedule update will do is get us to a point to where we can read our meters per 10 gallons of usage instead of the 1,000 gallons of usage that we were reading the meters at before. So not only will you get more accurate readings, but that'll also make for more accurate billing so that you're not being rounded up or down to the next 1,000 gallon. It'll be rounded to the nearest 10 gallon as far as your readings are concerned. So what we have before you is the old rate, still in white, of $4.51 per 1,000 gallons, or the $9.02 per 1,000 gallons. Those will all be adjusted to those decimal cents of gallons. You got 0.045 cents per 10 gallons, 0.09 per 10 gallons on those inside town limits and outside town limits. So once the fee schedule is officially updated, the yellow changes will be reflected to show properly in the fee schedule, and that's how your rates will be charged going forward, instead of being read per 1,000 gallons. With that, staff, do we have anything to add to that conversation?
No, sir, you get it. It's just more accurate in the system. I do believe that the council intended for this to happen and the change to AMI meters, and our staff, reform staff, field staff, caught this, that this did not happen and that change.
And in fact, while we're at it, as a work session, with this particular topic, does anybody in the audience have any questions about this particular change related to our fee schedule and how we charge with our water rates? There are no questions. Council, do I have a motion to approve the updated fee schedule and reading method related to our water usage?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
You've got a civic center rental agreement update to look at, and we'll let our community engagement coordinator, Nikki Wall, take that away. Just give us a brief overview of what we're looking at here.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So due to some safety concerns, possible property damage, and community impact of the venue, we would like to make a few revisions to the recently provided civic center agreement, just so that we can make sure that we detail those concerns a little bit more in depth to protect the venue, the citizens, and the guests that would be attending the events there. And it's very simple. The request that we're making is to ban glass bottles for individual consumption. That would be like beer bottles or anything if they have approved alcohol use on site, so that there's no damage to the floors, facility, or broken glass bottles that would cause injuries to anybody. And then we would also like to make sure that we are clear on the capacity levels that the venue accepts, because that is something that we do not want to exceed, especially for safety concerns. So we'd like to make sure that that is more clearly written in the agreement. It's actually stated a couple times as far as making sure that that's the safe level. And if security are on site, then they're able to address those issues as they see fit. That will also help protect the Selma Police Department and any town representatives that might see an unsafe capacity level. And then we also like to expand our definition of the cleanliness of the facility to make sure that we can tell people how it needs to be left, and if it's not, how we can address the deposit issues going forward.
Okay. Excellent. I do know that Councilman Overby particularly had one adjustment that he'd like to be made to the agreement as presented to us today. And I believe that's in activities prohibited on town-owned property. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So where it says use, sale of, and/or possession of any weapons, illegal drugs, and/or alcohol, and I think we all agree it probably needs to say illegal alcohol instead of just saying illegal drugs and/or alcohol, just to
Sure.
make sure it's clear.
Sure.
So,
Because in that section, you said it's prohibited, and then below we said it can be.
So alcohol is, and we can reword this however you think would be best, but alcohol is prohibited unless they have gone through the proper permit requests through ABC Commission to have those, and they have to have it posted on site. So technically, if we want to reword that, we can take that out, but I do want them to know that it's prohibited unless.
it's
they
not
have
take it
gone
out.
through
We want to add illegal.
Illegal, okay.
Before alcohol.
Or add without ABC.
Yeah, something along those lines. But I'd say illegal alcohol would cover it
Okay.
all day long.
Okay, there was one other change that we were, or revision that we were requesting. The sound levels from the inside of the venue, we have had a few reports of them being able to be heard outside of the venue, and we would like to have that in the agreement that if they are, for one, unsafe sound levels, or if it can be heard beyond the property, the premises of the property, that police can enforce that to be decreased immediately.
That would be great. Are we okay with that?
I just got a comment on that. They have a decimal point that it makes it legal or illegal, so we gotta fall in that range, right?
Yes, and I believe Chief and myself might be working on that to get those, to get a way to
I
to
do believe
that.
that we actually revised the noise ordinance to take out the decibel.
Yes,
And I
so
believe,
it's written, it's law.
yeah,
Heard as law.
yeah.
Okay.
But,
So-
and this being in a residential neighborhood, we feel like it's important. Neighborhood, all four sides.
I agree.
Versus a decibel level that can change with music.
So if PD was standing at a neighbor's house and could hear the music, they can then enforce that.
Yeah, just,
Very
just,
simple to
just use police.
find
with
the
it.
violation in it.
Okay.
It's great.
Yeah, that is.
And we may come back with some more revisions as we see fit, but we'd like to keep the agreements as up to date as possible to address any concerns that we see need to be.
I'm glad to see these are evolving documents. Let's keep
Yeah.
it going. So with those noted revisions, particularly the revision related to illegal alcohol and the addition of the noise ordinance beyond the property line, do I have a motion to approve this civic center rental agreement?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Richard B. Harrison Dominant Championship Wrestling Contract Update. One of my favorite ones.
Good evening, council. We are seeking approval on the terms of our new contract with Dominant Championship Wrestling for their 2024 events. In the new contract that we are hoping to draft, Dominant Championship Wrestling would pay $400 flat fee for use of the gym for the day of their event, in addition to Selma Parks and Recreation retaining the rights to sell concessions and retain the profits from those at their events. Whereas in the old contract, the only revenue that the town generated was from the concessions. So in the new agreement, we would be not only keeping concessions, but gaining $400 additionally for them using the gym.
Yeah. Sure is.
With that, do I have a motion to approve the new Dominant Championship Wrestling contract?
So move.
Second.
Get that second to council. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. Thank you. Oh, we got a presentation about some tasers. Chief Hughes, come on up. Something that we've been looking forward to hearing about.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So basically what I'm coming to ask for is, we need some new tasers. We're currently carrying an X-26 and we currently have 11 tasers. Axon is actually in the process of phasing these tasers out. So they're gonna be no longer any good to us. This Taser 7 is actually a safer taser, and this is a bundle that Axon was able to put together for us. What you have before us is 22 tasers. With rechargeable batteries, we have been buying batteries every 2 years at a cost of approximately $100. It comes with the holsters, a docking station, which will allow us to be able to keep the officers accountable. When you put the battery into the docking station, it actually downloads the data for us, which is a good thing. It also comes with all the taser cartridges, not only for carry, but also for the training. We also were able to get a in-house training coordinator. So basically, we've already got that. If you look at the breakdown, this is the cost. This is a 5-year plan. Basically, we currently had the funding for the first payment. It is, and after that, we would have to make another payment in January of 2024. So it's actually January to January payment. But you'll see the first one is the price of the first one. The second one, I asked to break this down a little bit more and was told that they had to have 30% the first 2 cycles. So that is why you're seeing what you're seeing. If council didn't decide to do this, the total price will be $89,471. After December 31st, this price will go up $13,792, which basically breaks down to $2,758 a year. So I suggest this is a great opportunity for us, if you guys see fit.
So the replacement of cartridges, maintenance, all of that.
Basically, it's bumper to bumper, just like you would be buying a vehicle for 5 years, it'd be bumper to bumper. Anything goes wrong with a taser, battery, anything, they replace the cartridges, no questions asked. My understanding is one of the guys dropped one off and run over, they would replace it, but nothing said.
Council, you have any questions?
Just in general, what's the old ones costing you now?
Sir,
What's the old tasers to cost you now?
cost a year, you're saying?
Just a,
Basically, every 2 years, the taser we actually have right now is, basically about 10-year-old. So to give you a cost comparison, we basically, every 2 years, we're spending $100, and then we're spending another $40 to $50 per cartridge. That's not even including any training at all.
okay,
Just out of curiosity, is this the same company?
Yes, Axon.
So it is the same company?
Yes, ma'am.
And just another weird question, but could you take your old tasers, turn those in
Yes,
for some sort of
That's actually,
discount?
that's actually worked into this deal, and I got that off. I think they're giving us, $4,000 and some odd dollars for the tasers that we currently
Okay,
have.
yeah, that's good.
I've got that breakdown somewhere.
And Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, the taser you're using now, out of 22.
Yes, basically they're going out of compliance. They're just old and outdated.
And the question,
Oh, good.
the question Mayor Pro Tem Scarborough was asking was how many total tasers, and for everybody in the audience, that's 22 tasers.
Just a little bit, it was just a little bit over 4,000, they were giving us for 11 we had.
Okay,
Just those one every 3 times.
Yes, that is correct.
Everybody will have a taser.
Yes, sir.
Well, we've got you did say that we did have the first year covered with the
Yes,
current budget.
yes, sir. The current budget we have right now, yes, sir. We
And so
have- we have
the next year we'll have to lump into a capital
That
improvement.
1,000 to the capital purchases, so just like we did the extras.
okay. Mm-hmm.
We do, I guess some are bigger software.
And we already looked at the implications as far as the next fiscal budget is concerned. Just off the top of your head, as far as the police budget is concerned,
Yes, sir.
did you have any concerns with the 20,000 going forward?
No, sir, I do not. I don't.
Discussions we're having, I guess it would be good questions. Discussions we've been having recently is, different ways of enforcing to bring in revenue. That's one way that we discussed, just to okay. I don't know if we covered 20,000.
You need these things?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My guys need it more than I do.
Yes, sir.
But my thought is, like you said, if the one we got have now is no good, just like Nick, you don't have anything.
Yes, sir.
So it's either, like they say, payment now, payment later, but we got to have changes. So that's
They're
it.
10 years old.
No good.
And I
At a
know
minimum
good
of
enough
10, yes,
to know 10 years old, it's time for an upgrade.
Council, do I have a motion to approve a contract with Taser 7 tasers and Axon for this new program over the next 5 years?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Give that second to Councilwoman. Any discussion?
I just like to say too, when it comes to policemen, we pay you guys a salary, we do all this, but still, anything we can do to improve the safety of you guys, it's no price we put on it. That's the bottom line.
Yes, sir.
That's my thought.
Thank you for this.
So I also like to throw in a comment that, our police force has been, the last thing on our bucket for many years now. It's time to upgrade a lot of stuff that, and we're working on that, so
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate that as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Safety first.
Council, this is also just to throw this in there, this is also not just the safety of our officers, but also people that can. So it's non-lethal, I think is the term I use correctly, non-lethal force for, folks that might be, don't know what the problem is, but you fix the problem if they're mad because they got tased.
Right. Thank you.
We got a motion and a second on the table. Through our discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, that brings us into Downtown Rewards Program. Hey, community engagement. Wow, one more time.
I promise this is the last time tonight. So this is the same program that we brought before you at the last meeting, to mention the Downtown's Rewards initiative that I was creating at the time. We have decided on a Selma spending voucher. So it would be like the Selma spending program. The voucher image that you see is the one that we're looking at using. This would just be a printed card. On the back, we have two options. Depends on how many businesses would want to participate. We can list the businesses on the back. If we get a lot of participation, which we hope, then we can include a website link so that they can go to the town's website, see the information, and also keep an updated list of participating businesses. So this is essentially for awards. Maybe it's our selfie contest in front of the Christmas tree, or some other initiatives that the town may put out there. It's a very inexpensive way to keep spending in downtown Selma or surrounding businesses that are also Selma businesses. So we would like to do $10 vouchers, but there may be a $30 prize where they get three $10 vouchers. And that was to consider some of the smaller businesses or smaller amounts of items. So they could use their $10 voucher at Coffee on Rayford, or they could use $30 towards something at Selma Jewelry. Like, it could be used either way. But one voucher has to be spent at one place at one time. If they don't spend the $10, they don't get the money back. But they do have to keep it in one location. And then on the back, it also gives the information for the submission for the businesses to be reimbursed. I have discussed this with our finance department, and they will actually fill out a form that I've actually looked at with the finance department. They would have to turn in the original voucher with an itemized receipt and the form. And to be a participating business, they have to turn in a W-9 form and sign the initiative that states that they are interested in being a participating business that would accept the vouchers.
Council questions? How much discussion have we had with our local business owners about this program?
The next step is to send the information to them in an email and ask if they are interested in being a participating business, and that would list out everything, all the requirements here, an image of the voucher. The vouchers would be impressed with a specific detailed logo so that they would know it can't be copied or anything like that.
I would suggest taking this as you're gauging interest and particularly get feedback on just the entire presentation, what tweaks might need to be made, particularly with the business owners, because of course with that buy-in, we want to make sure that anything we're putting out, they're comfortable.
Right.
So I would say go forth and explore it unless we have any concerns otherwise.
So your business owner has to submit a sub-9?
A W-9
Is-
form.
Sub-W, yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Initially it just follows the rules of our, payments that we can make from the
Exactly.
town. But that's a simple request that we have to make to all of our vendors before we can pay them. But the
I get
initiative,
it.
the initiative is really just to keep the spending here, but be able to reward the citizens and members of the communities or visitors that come to town, with different things, but make sure that the spending stays here.
Okay.
And it can evolve into a bigger program. I have seen in my research with other local communities or larger communities that it can evolve into a bigger program that can be of great benefit.
Any other questions, council? Yeah, I'd say certainly get together with our business owners, tweak it, adjust it, and something we can look forward to in January.
Sure. Be back.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Let's talk about some animal control. I know this is a topic that particularly Councilwoman Whitley has really wanted to get our hands around as a town. Chief Hughes, if you don't mind. Kind of give us an overview of where we are right now with animal control and maybe what we're working on.
Ahead. So right now, currently, our animal control officer, actually broke his foot while running. So he's gonna be out for a period of six weeks, minimum. So that being said, the patrol officers are taking calls that are coming in for the animals. Anything that we can't handle, Johnson County Animal Patrol has been willing to step up and help us with. Where we're hopefully heading to, I've actually was approached by Mr. McDaniels and basically said, hey, you need to come up with a plan B. So plan B, the next day I contacted him back, we talked a little bit, and what I'd like to do is, if it's possible, to actually have two guys there on a part-time basis, which would be cheaper than having a full-time animal control officer, which would be keeping Jimmy Norris and also bringing in a second person. I have somebody that is interested in that. And that way we will have a person there 8 hours a day. Basically, they will both be working a 4-hour shift, but we will be able to do the 8 hours. I think we can get more accomplished that way. It will require position control added. Once again, I'd like to keep both of them if possible. So that's where we're headed.
Now, I would also ask that you all explore, particularly I know the problem that we're facing right now is cats.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a catch and release program, something to start dwindling down the population of cats, something that we have found to be effective throughout other communities. We need to start implementing something like that in this community.
I agree.
It's just the amount that cruise through my yard in an average day. It's out of control.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I get it. I would also like to ask the public, they will, to help us get a hand on these things, to actually call the police department, let us know about some of these animals at time. That would help out more than anything else. I can tell you, we haven't had a whole lot of animal control calls called to the police department since Jimmy has been out. It's been a handful. So we need the public as well to step up and actually give us a call.
You know, it's, the public, a lot of people, including myself now, all of you know that if I feel like I need to call y'all, I will, because I know others won't. They just, well, Amy, it's not really that important. Don't bother them. No, that's what they're there for. But we've had a lot of, cat problems, as we know. And I'm trying to do some research, and I know y'all know more than I do, but what are these communities, towns, cities, what are they doing to wrap their hands around this cat issue? Because I know there's a lot of animals out there that are just sick in a lot of states, but these cats are making their animals sick, and it's so unfortunate. People, there's so many unresponsible pet owners. That's what burns me up.
Yes, ma'am.
But we can't help this feral population.
I think, and we had a discussion about this just earlier today. Where we run into a little bit of problems is that we can't just go on somebody's property. However, there is a lot of town businesses that we could put traps, that type of thing in, and that's something we're gonna look at. I would also recommend to the public, if you don't have a problem with us setting a trap at your house, please reach out to us. We may not be able to get you the first week, but we'll make a list and get around to your house. That's the best way I know to handle the problem.
Yeah, I'd love to see this go into the Selma tracks, because everybody's gonna get that power or that Selma bill. And hopefully people can see that, because there still are not a lot of people who, you know, listen to our presentations here or come to the meetings. So if we could get everybody knowing about that. I've got a friend, she and I talk about this at length. Well, they travel a little bit. She may not even be listening. I know she's not out there.
Well, you take one cat having 4 to 6 kittens, they can get out of hand real quick. So
That's
I
exactly
mean,
right.
I understand that.
Do we have any connections as far as kind of a spay neuter program that would go along with the catching? Of
Not
cats?
that I know of, Mayor, but I will research that.
Please do.
I'll research it.
'Cause I think that's an important piece to that is, you know, just catching them and then doing nothing with them is not going to help at the end of the day.
I know Tractor Supply from time to time have, but most of the time it's people actually bringing pets in. They
Right.
actually offer free service, but I'll research that a little bit further and see what I can come up with.
Much appreciated.
So the ones that I catch, Jimmy's been picking them up, taking them over to,
Yeah, they can
Okay.
also do that, yes. Sure can. Once again, I mean, we're willing to set the traps. The weekend make it kind of difficult, but during the week we can, and the hot summertime also makes it difficult because the cat can't just sit there. Once again, that's what I'm saying. If I got 2 guys there, they're there in an 8-hour period, we can solve the problem.
Can we return to this in January and have a more fully formed solution for us?
Sure.
That'd be great.
Yes, sir.
Are you, I will add, or with Jimmy being out right now, let's look at reality, obviously, we gotta make the position control work and the budget work. But, we have somebody available right now to come to work. We're not paying Jimmy because he's out for a little while. In anticipation of y'all approving this, y'all find us bringing this guy on, immediately to go ahead and start filling that vacant position. We have 0 right now.
Okay.
And then if y'all want to move forward in January, we can update that position control. And maybe by me and Jimmy, we can, I'm hoping to chase the cats.
And I'm sure, I mean, even off the top of my head, I know we have some general fund package as far as positions, so let's do it.
Fantastic.
We'll go ahead and move forward with him, get him started early next week.
Sounds good.
you need,
Thank you. Do we need any type of motion right
I
now?
don't think so, because we're not making anything new right now, we're just bringing that, and then we can finalize it, when we get you we can have it out of budget and the position control.
So they'll come organize with that for you.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's take a moment to touch briefly on our organizational chart. In fact, wait, there's we're still massaging our organizational chart, just want to, quite frankly, get some input from staff and update this chart a little further. Good to go? So, right now, chart looks generally the same as far as this side of the chart with our police, fire, public services. We have gone back in and put in planning services currently right now underneath of our deputy town manager, but I do know that Chief McDaniel, you had some thoughts, particularly on where those positions should be. Please, after you.
Yes, sir, as involved as the manager is, sometime at the first contact, we'll suggest that a planning tech is directly under the town manager.
So here we would have town manager kind of with a small department of planning, pretty much. So these items here go directly under town manager. With you kind of being boots on the ground and seeing this firsthand, I tend to.
A lot of questions, initial questions come straight to that. It's just tied together with.
Council, do you have any concerns there on those? So that would be directly to the town manager as far as planning services and anything planning otherwise that we would add to that branch. Go directly to the town. Okay, we'll make that adjustment and then continue to tweak as we go through our budget season. The anticipation is to have this fully cemented by budget to have numbers to go along with these positions as well. So we keep plucking away at this bit by bit and go from there. But anything else that we need to touch on, staff? Okay. All right, let's talk about parking policy. Parking policy. So, we have been talking about town hall parking lot for about 4 months now. And I think we've gotten to a place in talking with the business owners to start leasing out spaces to our business owners that are connected to the town hall parking lot and make 2-hour parking spaces and town hall parking lot staff spaces as well. So folks that work in businesses connected to the town hall parking lot would actually have space for their staff as well. Good to go? So, where we are today, and I believe we have gotten the sign off from the majority of the business owners that would be participating in this and affected by this, is these spaces, as you see, are individual boxes, are leased out to businesses in pairs of 2. So a business connected to the town hall parking lot can get 2 spaces leased out to them. We also have residents, each residential domicile can get 1 space leased to that domicile. So for instance, there are 2 apartments above the general store. So these 2 spaces are connected to those 2 apartments above the general store. Come further down, handicap spaces, of course, still open handicap spaces. Customer service for our current town hall will become our finance building. And then, of course, you see pairs of 2 for other businesses down the road as well. And I believe we had this left as 30-minute parking in our conversations with the folks from Hatchet Brewery for the desire to have a space where people can come in real quick, grab something, come back out, go on about their business. This green area right here would be 2-hour parking. This green area right here would be 2-hour parking. If I was able to chat with Miss Wilma Pridgeon today, she's tickled to death about that. And then whatever spaces remain, we still have a question in the air about one of our business owners possibly wanting space, so that might be 4 or 5 2-hour parking spaces on that part of the lot as well. These are spaces for the residents that are above Old Town Hall and in the building adjacent to Old Town Hall. These are Town of Selma employee spaces. Still have some more 2-hour parking here and parking for surf and turf, and then employee parking, all for here for folks that work in these businesses at Old Town Hall Park. So that's where we are today. In January, I believe we're going to be prepared to start actually bringing out leases related to parking. The only one adjustment to these lease spaces that I've heard that we have not discussed thus far is caveats on what type of vehicles can be parked in these spaces. And I've heard very clearly and loudly that construction vehicles should not be allowed to be parked in those spaces. So with that, Megan, when we're putting together agreements, that caveat would definitely need to be there. No construction vehicles parked in these spaces. Was there anything else that we'd missed? Okay. Do we have any questions about that piece of parking as far as the parking plan is concerned? Any concerns, thoughts? This is a little open time for everybody to weigh in, particularly those that are affected in that area. Yes. Come on up to the mic. Come on up to the mic. We don't need name and address for the record, but chat away.
All right, well, I'm gonna give you my name anyway. My name is Samad Bilal. I'm the owner of Mama Nims.
Yeah.
So how does it work? Someone comes, most people aren't just gonna come downtown. Well, I mean, we get people that come through just to eat, but most people are gonna come downtown. They're gonna wanna go to the jewelry store. They might wanna go pay the power bill. They're not gonna move their car from Mama Nims parking to utility parking to this parking. So in 2 hours, that would kill my business because that's an hour and 15 to an hour and a half just at my space.
The 2-hour parking's just behind Town Hall.
Just behind Town Hall?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Have a good night.
That's all.
It's just behind
just behind Town
Town
Hall.
Hall.
Right, right across the street.
Yeah.
Let me Sergio, and I'm glad you clarified that because I was really concerned about that too. And I will give you a little quick example. Like I have a customer from Virginia, Tennessee, South Carolina, and they spend at least 2 hours in my shop.
Yeah.
Then they ask me, where do we go to eat? And I turn around and say, well, go next door. Here's the new restaurant. And I mean, they go in there so that by the time they finish with me, they might spend another 35 minutes. So, but I'm glad you clear.
Yeah, just we have not even approached Anderson Street, Rayford Street, Oak Street. The only thing that we're going to approach related to Oak Rayford area is cones in the street.
Okay.
Otherwise, we haven't even begun to think about anything. Like
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Now, I did have a thought though because somebody asked me about 2-hour parking on the street. In fact, it was at HTR. I was visiting there. That if there are business owners that actually want 2-hour parking in front of their establishment, that's something we can entertain, but we certainly have no interest in carpet bombing the entire street at this rate.
Yeah, okay,
So-
perfect. Yeah, I mean, I think it will be great not to have that
Yeah.
limitations in there because, like he said,
We're not at that point as a community yet.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that. Appreciate it.
Gosh, I'm so glad y'all are all here so we could clear up Main Street parking. My goodness.
Yeah, that we haven't even begun to approach.
No.
And when we do begin to approach that, we're going to talk about that for at least 4 months as well. So we want everybody to be clear as what we're approaching. Yes, ma'am, come on up.
I know you and I had talked about before, like, we close at 6 o'clock at the jewelry store.
Mhm.
After 6 o'clock, I don't care who parks in my parking spaces. I would hope that someone eating at one of the establishments or getting a beverage from the new brewery would use my parking spaces. I just need them from the time I'm open. So can we have signs,
So,
like, just
correct me if I'm
while
wrong,
I'm
the
open?
conversation we had, if you lease a space, you would be responsible for signage,
Okay,
however you wanted to say. So you could say 7 is your parking only from your business hours,
Business
or
hours.
whatever, any.
yeah,
I think you're 6, and you're probably 5.
Mine is six. Everybody's going.
So you
Yeah.
could do it, and the other thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, it would be your enforcement.
Okay.
So, it would be for you, say, fill a part in your spot, and you went to town hall, maybe,
Yeah.
so when you're leasing, you're taking into account, including what you want times with.
Okay. Okay.
But
So,
it would need to be stated on your sign, so, everybody would understand, hey, this is not count.
yeah, because I don't want my spots to sit empty when the jury's, like on Sunday, when we're closed anyway. I want people to be using them, being able to. And so signage, like, am I responsible for putting the pole in the ground, or is that something y'all
Like we
gonna help
talked about,
with,
we'll
and
put
then
a
I'll,
pipe pole in.
We'll put the pole and you'd be responsible for the actual sign. And we'll give you the guidelines for the sign as well.
If you see the poles that are back there for the employee parking, that would have been marked off, and the handicap parking that exists, it'd be something very similar to that.
Okay.
And just, just address it, I know you see this a lot, the 2-hour thing behind town hall, that's what we're seeing a lot of. People in those spots are kind of coming and going,
yeah,
they're going to give them a chainsaw, they're going to give them a diamond ring, they're paying a bill.
yeah,
But we are having a lot of people parking there 18 hours, like construction.
Yeah.
So that's what we're
and
trying to
God
do.
bless them, they can't get between the lines.
Yeah, the big trucks,
Stay
it's just
alive.
hard.
There you go.
So,
They're sad.
Councilman Overby?
Yeah, Mr. McDaniel, let's clarify one thing. She said, how's she gonna have her to enforce it? How would she enforce it? Is she
so
call the
I think
police?
we could take a phone call, but expect our police officer to patrol and say,
Yeah,
this is a selling jewelry customer, this is an ice cream customer. But if you call and say, hey, this guy's continuing parking in my spot.
yeah.
He's going to.
Or if I have a car parked there right when we open and they're still there after lunch.
That's good.
And you would have the right to call the tow company directly, right? So
Yeah.
get these folks
Oh,
out.
yeah.
You can have them too.
You gonna
Yeah,
use
you
the
call the
same,
tow
like,
company
will y'all
direct.
give us the number of whoever you want us to use, or is that just to my discretion?
Yeah, I think we had talked about, you can use whoever you want to, but I think we talked about as far as like overnight parking violations.
Yeah.
We would hire so we would hire, because no money transaction. We would contract with a towing company. They would say, yeah, the truck has been there for 24 hours.
Yeah.
We're gonna tow it, and it's between me, the violator, and the tow company.
Okay. Very good.
So, and we'll have all those guidelines printed out and all that information. As we get it. Yes, yes. Any other questions? All right. Everybody clear on the plan so far?
Good.
Cool. Good to go. Thank you. All right. And with that, we'll still leave some space for open forum citizens' requests. If anybody has anything else on their mind that they'd like to touch base on, address, discuss, come on up. Once, going twice. Oh, we got a taker. Come on up to the microphone. We need your name and address for the record with open forum citizens' requests. We'll go from there.
Jennifer Edwards, 65 Brown Wall Road, Selma. My concern is about the animal issue that we just discussed. I've been involved with helping animals since the 80s. We've been before the county commissioners. And I just want to say that it's really not a cat problem, it's a people problem. If we don't educate, we're not winning the game. But there's far much more to trapping than just trapping. You never trap unless you have a plan. Otherwise, that animal's sitting there, you have nowhere for it to go. There has to be a plan in place before you trap, because I've worked with trap neuter release programs. Wilson County has received a grant, and they now have a trap neuter release program through the Wilson County Shelter, and that seems to be working well. And a lot of what that means is not trap them and take them to the shelter, because
Just a moment, Ms. Owens. Hey, guys, we can hear you in the back. Everybody, please quiet down. After you.
basically, if you just trap them, you're taking them to the shelter where they're going to be euthanized. Cats are euthanized approximately 92% of the time. So that's not the answer. You're just killing them. So you have to have a plan in place for when you trap, what you're gonna do afterwards. And typically with trap, neuter, release, they're released back into the population, but they can no longer reproduce. One other issue I think with Selma that I've heard a lot about are pit bulls that are running loose and killing other animals. I heard of that last week. That's a concern for me as well. Especially down the end of Anderson Street. I think there are a lot of pit bulls that are not controlled and are often running loose. And the problem comes because there's a section of that town that is in the ETJ, and the other sections are in Selma, and no one really seems to know who to call or who to come out to address those problems. So that's another concern. But I would like to say, not that I need another project, but if the police chief or town manager, whomever, would like any input, I think it would be great to have some people involved in that animal decision that are familiar with what's going on and that can offer some input as to a constructive way to curb the population instead of just trapping them and killing them.
Absolutely.
Because, as I said, the shelter's overflowing right now. Every time one comes in, one dies. So Selma is not going to make a good name for themselves with just contributing it that way. But if they were to set up a trap, neuter, release program, you could really set a good standard for what we could do in a community.
Where do when you do that and you say they're fixed, and you say you release them,
Yes,
where do you release them
back
to?
where they came from, because a feral cat will, if released back, will usually go back to its area. But they are marked with a tipped ear, and that way, if you trap again, you know that that animal has been previously fixed, so doesn't need to go back again. They also, while they're trapped, neuter, release, usually get a rabies shot, so that helps with that as well.
And I know a lot of these cats are making other animals, dogs, sick.
Cats and dogs do not contract the same illnesses. It is not, they do not cross species.
Okay, that's not what I've heard, but I'm not gonna dispute that.
No,
But I
mean,
know
you're
that
welcome to call.
you know, I've always heard a cat can survive. But of course, a dog cannot out in the wild.
A dog
it's-
becomes feral basically when lost or whatever. I've witnessed this in my community. Once they've been on their own for a while, they lose a lot of their interaction with humans, and they just go into survival. And that's basically what a cat does as well. So that's my 2 cents. But I'd like to see some people who know the logistics of animals involved in any decision making versus, of course, the police officers. We need some input as to how to help instead of just how to catch.
We have tasked staff with cobbling together a plan over the next month, and so with this wrinkle and this piece of input, let's make sure we make the proper contacts, get the proper information, and we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would like to say too, the young lady just spoke just then, it's good when people come out and speak about things because everybody seems to have their own preconceived thoughts about things, but you don't know what you don't know. So thank you.
Anybody else for open forum citizens requests? Yes, so we've got in the back first, Sergio, come on up, name and address for the record.
Sergio Benitez, 105 South Rayford Street, Selma, North
Home
Carolina.
address, home address. Home address.
Oh, home address. It's 185 Desert Sand Lane, Raleigh, North Carolina, 27610. I want to go back to the parking. I know you guys will be putting signs for those parkings that are being assigned to people, but my concern is too that there will signs will be in Spanish as well too, so that people that speak English when they come to town, they know exactly where they need to be parking and things like that. So that way they cannot be like, well, I was not understanding in English, blah, blah, blah. I make excuses for not to, they did not understand that.
The actual signage is
Yeah.
for the businesses, of course, up to the business owners, but we can certainly explore for.
We'll explore options with signs. But,
Yeah.
I hate to tell you what we're gonna be able to do right now.
Yes, I mean, just,
Size-wise.
yeah, just to know that way. 'cause I
Particularly
know-
with our signs, as far as like what 2-hour parking would be, we are also, we have regulations that we have to follow, so we have to make sure we know exactly what we can and can't do.
Yeah,
But
perfect.
we will explore it, so thanks for adding.
And another situation with the cat, like I was thinking on her too, I think just a suggestion to me is like if you can send a letter and our monthly bills, to the Hispanic community too, because I know they tend to like cats too, in my community. I'm not gonna deny that. And, to make them more aware of the situation and be more responsible for that little animal. That's all I can say too. So,
But that letter in
Spanish, yeah, to like the power bill that we get every month, you put it there and say, hey, we're working on this and that. That way you make them aware what's going on in the town, because sometimes they don't even aware what's going on. So I'm pretty sure they didn't even know what the situation is with the cats.
There are a lot of people who don't know.
Yeah, so I was not naughty today. So, yeah, but that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we had one more for open forum citizen request. Come on up. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Jean Kelly. I own 7 acres of land in Selma. For the last 30 years, I have been looking for the magnet that attracts cats to my house, and I have yet to find them. We have 2 traps, and we are constantly finding them. Every day we set those traps out, we find a cat. One day we caught 5 in the same trap. And I want to say that I am very happy to hear that the police are going to be wanting our permission, and you have my permission. Do not ever let those traps set up. Bring them over there, set them around. And I definitely do not, under any circumstances, want them released back on my property. They cause, over the course of 30 years, they've caused thousands of dollars worth of problems for us. We do not want these cats on my property released again. And if anybody wants a cat, let me know and I'll bring you one.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Jean,
Thanks, Subway.
Ms. Jean, just out of curiosity, what do you currently do when you trap your cats?
Roy takes them someplace too on 301 around Walmart or somewhere.
Let them loose.
Wherever,
Let them loose.
whoever will take them.
Let them loose. Let them
Yes, ma'am.
Let them loose.
Yes, ma'am.
Not what he wants to do.
If you don't,
But he can't do what he wants to because it's illegal for firearms to be in.
Miss Kelly, there got to be something to keep drawing them cats back to your place.
I'll tell you what it is, we've got bushes around there and people get out of their car and just throw them
But
out.
I'm saying there's got to be something around
You
your
know what
property.
was
all the
thrown
time.
out of my yard this week? A bathtub.
Bathtub, would cat would want a bathtub.
Anybody want a bathtub?
Thank you, Miss Kelly.
For no reason.
Heard.
But it's okay to release them snails.
Do we have anyone else for open forum citizens requests? Once. Twice. Done. We got some public hearings and appeals to look at. An annexation for 1500 West Oak Street. Who wants to take it away?
Describes the area that is contiguous with the town.
Dalton, did you have any concerns as far as any of the information that needs to be checked related to this property? Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, with that, we do have a couple of accompanying documents with this ordinance to extend the town limits related to this property. So with that, do I have a motion to approve extending or accepting this ordinance to extend the town limits related to this property and all accompanying documents for the property?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So there's a house on the property now out there. Is it included with the property?
It's, you see the little square that's kind of cut in? There's no-
Yeah.
That's that house.
So
it's
is,
not,
are we gonna,
it's not.
we're not satelliting that in, right?
No, sir, it would not be included in this. Again, we're at, voluntary annexation now. Yeah. This is that one property that was voluntary, asked for us to take.
And I'm okay, I just wanna make sure that was clear.
That's correct, yes, sir, but I believe that is your little cut-in square.
Right,
And that property owner, part of that cut-in, has not asked to be
No, sir,
annexed.
no, sir. So we have no legal authority to do it.
okay,
All right.
thank
This
you.
is one property on, your red square is one property.
Thank you for the information.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion? Motion is second on the table. All those in favor?
Aye.
Got an annexation. Thank you very much. And then we've got a couple of ordinances to look at. First, the gaming ordinance. And this will be the public hearing for that gaming ordinance that we scheduled at our last meeting. Do we have any comments related to the gaming ordinance? So would you suggest that we make those adjustments and then come back to this and schedule another public hearing for this ordinance?
You can do one of two things. You can, accept it as is and then amend it, or you can table it and then you can make those revisions to the public hearing on it. Adopt it as it's written.
We might not for this one if we're gonna postpone it. We did not, oh, that's right, we did not. I apologize.
If we want to finish this conversation, you can go back to it, but we never officially opened.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you very much. Good catch, good catch. So we'll go back. Let's first go ahead and get 1500 squared away since we got all the questions out of the way. Let's do first open a public hearing for the annexation of 1500 West Oak Street. Do I have a motion to do so?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
We now have an open public hearing. Would anybody like to speak as part of the public hearing related to 1500 West Oak Street? Once, twice? Do we have any staff comments?
No, sir.
Do I have a motion to close the public hearing related to 1500 West Oak Street?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we have closed the public hearing. And do we need to go back and vote on the ordinance based on that public hearing?
Yes.
we will do that. So we'll do a mulligan on that. So we do have the ordinance to extend the corporate limits related to 1500 West Oak Street and accompanying documents. Do I have a motion to adopt that ordinance, accept the accompanying documents for approval?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion there? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. We are annexing again. Thank you very much for catching that. That's fantastic. Appreciate you. Very good. So let's go back now to the gaming ordinance.
We just need to leave.
Yeah. Postpone it.
Get those.
Are we okay with
Agreed.
that?
Yes.
Mayor, as far as staff is concerned, just want to remind you, like, planning board did, move this version, and like I said, it was a couple comments. Visits.
Mhm.
Staff, a lot of staff has looked at this, I don't think anybody has any issue with the verbiage there. It is about, she said, enforcement and, process. Little concerns that have been, that put to me and from me is, the pop-up machines. The status was sometimes gonna be
Mm-hmm.
the, random 3 to 4 machines that pop up in small businesses that are here. Enforcement of those. So I think, logistically, we'd like to get our heads around how we handle enforcement, and permitting, at least pop-up things. But I don't think there's a major issue with any verbiage that you heard that from.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree, but I'd rather not put it out there now until we got everything, all our ducks in a row.
We're fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, this is your ordinance. We just want to make sure that we can enforce your ordinance correctly.
Yeah.
So we're not questioning it by no means.
Okay.
Just, I think logistically, we got a few things.
Council wants to punt, we'll punt. So we'll, do we need to schedule another public hearing? Go ahead and schedule one for this ordinance. Let's do this. Let's, while we're deciding whether or not we want to take it back to the board, let's go ahead and put on consent for the December 12th meeting, scheduling of the public hearing for this gaming ordinance. Make sure that we understand the ins and outs of what might need to be added and see if it's sufficient enough need to take it back to planning, and then we can adjust that. Does that sound good? Okay. So let's move down to the vacant building ordinance. Let's get some comment on the vacant building ordinance that we have before us.
storage equipment, things like that, that make it obvious and apparent that it is a vacant property. So it just goes through and kind of specifies the ways to accomplish that. And try to be as specific as possible. So what is acceptable.
Do I have a motion to open public hearing related to the vacant building ordinance before us?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Got a public hearing open. Would anybody like to comment as part of this public hearing for this vacant building? Are there any particular comments staff would like to add as part of the public hearing for this ordinance?
No, sir, just to make sure, the biggest thing is education. This is something brand new we never did. Issue. So, if approved, we make certain that we get this out to our areas of town that are affected. Just take some time to initiate. I think it's a very well written policy. It meets our
comment? As part of the public hearing, name and address again for the record. We got to do it. And, yeah.
Kimberly Wooten. I live at 158 Beth Drive, Smithfield, North Carolina. I know in Activate Selma, like we always try to decorate downtown and help, make it look festive. And one of our activators was trying to get up with the empty buildings because we like to decorate those windows too, so that when you're walking from one store to another, everything looks nice. One particular building in front of me, she called and called and called. It has a for sale or for rent, whatever, in the window. She called that number over and over and over repeatedly and could never get up with anyone. So is it for sale or does it just have a sign there? You know what I mean? So she just wanted to know if she could get in there and decorate it. Since we couldn't, we just put something on the outside. But anyway, so I'm just wondering, I don't know if that's written
So part of
into.
this policy, I'm trying to find the exact word, is, and I'll put it in Phil's word for a minute.
Yeah.
You've got to actively have your business for sale.
Active.
And actively, and that's,
Right.
that is, there it is. Property is for sale or lease, and said lease shall not exceed 2 years, and the owner shall provide proof that the building is actively and continuously being marked. A phone call with no answer to a realtor, I think there's some realtors in the area, I bet you answer your phone. don't you?
Right.
That would definitely not be
And
active.
I know of another, lady that wanted to put a, maybe a charcuterie business where she would have classes and you could always, you could always also buy charcuterie boards, things like that. She wanted to do that in our town. And she and her husband went around to several businesses and kept calling and could never get anyone to answer. So she's,
That's what,
yeah,
that's what.
so she's going to Pine Level. So, yep,
This was my big thing.
yeah.
My whole thing about this is, I have been in this town long enough, I see these buildings sit. And a couple of years ago, I thought, y'all, I know other towns do this.
Yeah.
They charge you because when I run for president, this is gonna be my slogan. You are hindering the growth.
Yes, yeah. You have
of
people
your
that want to
area.
come, but if you won't answer your phone, like you don't really want to rent your building or sell it or whatever if you're not answering. So
That's right.
I'm glad that
That's
that's
I know there's a lot, another thing that people may not know is there's another piece in here. We got some renovators, former renovators and current renovators in our audience. You're exempt. 2 years, what's it say? 2 years. Like your business, that we're not hindering growth, but
Yeah.
this is for these absentee folks.
because it takes time to fix something up. We understand that, but
Right.
when just putting a sign in your window doesn't actually mean you're trying to do anything. Thank you. I'm glad.
Oh,
Good. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So let me take it another step. We done everything we can to try to contact, them. They don't respond. They're out of state. What's our next move?
Great question. So we actually have an enforcement violation and penalty section. So if you're in violation, it is actually charged with 5 misdemeanor. And there are fees and penalties involved with it. So it's definitely something to try and incentivize, these vacant properties to be rented. When one's renovating it and things like that, it's still to incentivize that, but for those that aren't actively answering the phone, sell it. One of the penalties is assessing a $50 per day fine at the discretion of the town. So there is some enforcement authority in this ordinance. So we're trying to be very comprehensive and thinking through all the potential issues that could go on.
So if I'm correctly, with all the fines and we put on, we can, put a lien against the building for that?
Use that set off and means that.
Okay.
If you remember about 7 years ago, just before downtown really started doing well, y'all council had
Yes.
town vacant or not. And this addresses a lot of problems I ran into with those schools that nobody cared. Luckily, as Byron says, capitalism reigned, people started investing in the buildings, and most of those buildings that we had problems with were probably vibrant businesses, right? But that's nothing that we did, that's getting out of our way.
Getting out.
As we like to say, but this addresses the issues that I had at that time. Fire code says a few things, but this is an ordinance that y'all passed through, Mr. Mayor.
I just don't wanna run against a closed door and we can't go forward.
Yeah, my thought on it, about these vacant buildings from day one would be, if I walk down the town of Selma, got a business here, may not be a business next door to it, but you won't really know it from the outside. You had the facade looking like it's occupied. So look like one clean, pretty sheet of paper.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing, is that when they walk downtown, there may be an empty building there, but it would look like it's in, the paint, everything's good. That's what we're trying to get to.
Anybody else as part of the public hearing? Motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Then I believe we have to get a motion to adopt this vacant building ordinance. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Vacant building ordinance it is. Very good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, we actually still have an agenda to look at for December 12th. I do believe we've already said we do need to put on consent the scheduling of the public hearing for the gaming ordinance. And then let's make sure we run the appropriate rabbits to decide whether or not we need to send that back to planning board. If we do need to send it back to the planning board, we have gotten a request to cancel the planning board meeting on 12/25, which I don't know why they do that, but fine. So that would mean that that planning board meeting would not be to January. So if we decide it needs to go to the planning board, we will also remove that from consent for scheduling that meeting. Otherwise, is there any other adjustments that we see that need to be made to this agenda for 12/12/2023? Added, anything need to be subtracted?
Yes, you have a line item for finance resolutions in their unit, their CBG and SRF. We would like to add, because I didn't get them until December 3rd, I think, for, financing for the leaf truck. Those are, like, I emailed all three documents in the agenda. Haircut drive, clear winter.
It's the boilerplate financing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Are we okay with adding that to consent? All right, so I have the boilerplate financing documents to consent. Just do make sure we get a clear look at them once you update the agenda. And really, the majority of this agenda is consent, and then we actually have a recognition presentation of swearing in council members recently elected and one that was recently appointed. So it'll be more of a ceremonial meeting on December 12th, 2023, and that will be occurring at the Selma Civic Center. So we will not be meeting in the Jernigan building. We'll be meeting at the Selma Civic Center for our December 12th, 2023 council meeting. Anything else that we need to add, subtract, update? And Councilman Overby, you are good to go with that agreement?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So let's go ahead and add that to consent as well. We did look at it last month. Councilman Overby wanted to go through it with a fine tooth comb, and I know he did. So let's go ahead and put it on consent. Okay? Do we have anything else to add or subtract? Everybody good with this agenda, with those additions? All right, we are good to go there, and I believe we do actually need to have a closed session for a couple of reasons today. We do need to go into closed session under GS 143-318.11, subsection 1 and subsection 4, I believe. So do I have a motion to go into closed session under those
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.